ever lecture in this particular course. So our course is the contemporary world. So we will have to talk about the issues in contemporary world and society. So this will be a very quick recorded lecture. But first and foremost, I would like to introduce myself. So I am your assignee professor in this particular subject. So basically, I will be handling you guys and let's navigate together the things that you must learn along the way in this particular subject. All right. So first, let's it's very interesting to look into the title of your course. So the contemporary world. So we will have to define first what contemporary is. That word contemporary. Have you ever heard the word contemporary? Probably yes, right? So in this particular note, contemporary refers to the present times, the modern time, or the time when we still have the previous generations. Probably that's from 70s, 80s, 90s, and up to the present. It is the modern world, the world that we live in today, and also the recent past or the recent past generations that are still with us today. So when we say contemporary, first it refers to the time that where we are and when we are living right now. So the first topic is about globalization. The module 1 is about globalization. So we will have to take off the word global in this particular stage. So global meaning to say the world. So probably the world when you were a kid refers to your home or yourself. So yeah, the world is as small as we are when we were a child, but as we grow up, we realize that we have a community outside home, outside our families, and we belong in a barangay or we have big relatives or distant relatives, and we belong in a community, and then we have regions, we have provinces, we have a state, we have a country, and then we have this regional groups in ASEAN, in Southeast Asia, in Asia Pacific, and the world. So, as we age and grow, we realize that we are more interconnected and that our small world when we were kids turned into something big and something more complex and dynamic. Okay, so we will have to talk and process that particular transformation from a child who is locked or sheltered at home into a growing individual or into a person who's ready to take on the challenge where he or she will be in the next 10 to 15 years. And we will be having a global perspective, but also local, because we have to be grounded with our local issues while we take a look into the bigger picture. So that's the trajectory of our discussions. So the title of this is Globalization Dynamics, Impacts, and Economic Perspective. This is the part 1 of module 1. So globalization is first defined as the interconnectedness of societies or interrelationship and interdependence. Okay, we have three keywords here: interconnectedness, interdependence, and what? Interrelatedness. Yeah, those three words probably are the best ones to describe what globalization is. So, meaning to say, the saying that no man is an island, it's not really true now because we are more interconnected. That actually proves that when you are, when you when you get to hear that something happened in Japan overnight, I think you can still watch it at almost at the same time in real time in the Philippines. And this also talks about telecommunications. You talk to your families abroad. But, well, of course, these are technological advancements, but they are also reflective how we are more connected now than ever. Okay, so globalization connects economies, societies, cultures through trade, investment, and information flows, and even technology, even like manpower. Like we send nurses, Filipino nurses abroad, and these Filipino nurses go to the UK. We also have Filipino teachers, and of course, our migrant workers in the Middle East. That those mobilities, paggalaw ng mga tao, pagpunta nila sa iba't ibang lugar are all part of globalization. Number two dimension this globalization has a great impact on society and economy. For instance na lang, if ang isang tao nakapag-abroad siya, so what happens to the family? They will be having an upward social mobility, meaning to say in Tagalog, nakaahon sa hirap. So this is an indication that globalization directly affect not only you but a lot of Filipino families who's sending their parents, probably children, or their brothers working abroad. And this is also true with education. While I am in Spain, of course, my study in Spain in the postgraduate studies will only be possible because of we are more interconnected, and we open the opportunities for others also to gain education not only in the Philippines but in abroad. So yeah, these are all part of the mobility and the systems that made possible for opportunities to to go beyond the Philippines, to challenge actually the norms na sa Pilas ka lang mag-aaral, stuff like that. So yeah, what I'm doing in Japan, in Spain is studying. All right. Next, the scope of the presentation will be talking about the definitions of globalization, what the drivers or factors that made globalization even more possible, the economic viewpoints and major benefits and drawbacks, meaning to say the advantages and disadvantages of globalization. As we move on, we have here a further definition of globalization. Okay, so it is an increasing integration. With globalization, there is a presence of increasing integration of markets. For instance, nakakabili na tayo ng iPhone. iPhone, brand ng America from the US but manufactured in China. And what else? The Toyota, the cars, the motorcycles that we do, sometimes are owned by Chinese and Japanese companies but are manufactured in the Philippines or in Thailand but are being sold elsewhere in Southeast Asia. These business mix, no, are all possible because of globalization. Bakit ba natin ginagawa ito? Because we are more interconnected. We could actually trespass boundaries. Like yung malayo yung Thailand, no, it's just 3 hours away. Yeah, so these are all possible because of globalization. And then we also have key channels of globalization. What are these? The flow of trades and goods, like I said kanina, sa iPhone tapos sa mga sasakyan. Ano pa? Even the batteries and even the things that you buy at DIY. Ano ba? Yung mga Chinese shops dyan sa mga locality natin. Sa Binalonan, Urdaneta, all of these goods are actually manufactured in China and brought into the Philippines for Filipino consumption. So sino pinapalakas natin ang ekonomiya? Actually, yung may-ari, yung China, at hindi yung sa atin. But can we also create our own goods? Actually, marami itong mahaba-habang discussion yon. Maybe our economy is not yet fully industrialized. We're not yet capable to produce such. Ultimo stapler nga galing sa ibang bansa, di ba? Okay, gano'n na yung katindi ng flow ng goods. Outflow at saka inflow. Dalawa lang naman. Pag sinabi nating flow of goods, outflow, inflow. Paalis, papunta, para rin niyang import or export. Okay, what are the determinants and outcomes of globalization? Nung nagbabago, nagsishape yung ating economy, we have to make business with other countries. We have to adapt with our policies. Hindi na pwede yung parang Pinoy goods lang dito sa Pilipinas. It's not at all possible because we can't produce everything that we need. Kailangan natin ng Samsung na cellphone, kailangan natin ng Toyota, kailangan natin ng Honda. Yes, so we don't have those gadgets, equipments, technology, at hindi naman tayo dapat magpahuli. So we have to accommodate making business with them. So that is all made possible with globalization. Okay, so madali naman siyang intindihin, no? So, globalization impacts technology, communication, trade. Ipag sinabi natin trade, it relates with business, palitan ng mga produkto, goods and services. At meron na tayong investment liberalization. For instance, diyan sa may Binalonan, we have what we call the Aero Industrial Park. Actually, the companies there are Japanese. And one time, kasama ko silang nagkape dyan sa may UEP, dyan sa gilid ng Drop Cafe. So, the owners there are Japanese. So, sometimes they're having meeting at Drop Coffee. So, di ba, parang ang iliit-liit lang ng mundo because of globalization. That's how business is done now. Ginagawa yung mga produkto yun. I think pang soccer ata o volleyball na bola. And then, binabalik yung commodity kasi mahilig ang Japan sa sports. So, ibabalik nila, ibibenta nila yung ginawang mga bola sa Binalonan, sa Pangasinan, bibenta sa Japan. Okay, even like Amazon online, yung mga TikTok, 'di ba? Yung mga yan, these are all products of globalization. Pinapayaman nyo talaga yung China, kakamay nyo, mga ganun. Okay, so we have five cores or the pillars of globalization. We talked about this as the dimensions of globalization. Ano ba yung mga aspeto na kapaloob sa globalization? Lima yon, sabi na natin. Economic integration, hindi na pwedeng nag-iisa ka lang kasi kung nag-iisa ka lang wala kang customer, di ba? Parang sa palengke, hindi pwede yon. You have to merge with the market or international market. So number one is economic integration, technological flows. Pupunta dito sa atin ang mga goods ng Korea, 'di ba? Kundura, sorry, it's an American product. Ano pa ba? Yung Kia na mga sasakyan. Ano pa ba yung galing sa Korea? Hyundai, yung mga sasakyan na yan, di ba? Di ba in Japan? Yes, pwede. Right. We also have political connectivity kasi ang lahat ng ito pinag-uusapan ng ating mga leader. Kaya yung leader ng Pilipinas, BBBM, kung hindi siya magaling magbenta sa mga goods na pwedeng ipalit ng Pilipinas papunta sa ibang bansa tulad na lamang ng mga exports natin like banana, we don't export rice, actually nickel in raw form. Yun na nga, lugi na nga tayo, nasisira yung environment natin, pero yung nickel, nabibenta pa natin siya ng mas mura kasi hindi natin na-process, hindi natin siya nagawang wire. So yun. So tatlo yun. Economic integration, ay lima pala ito. Tatlo pala yung nadidiscuss natin. Economic integration, technological flows, political connectivity. Bakit kailangan natin political connectivity? Our leaders are also function as economic managers of the country. I repeat, the presidents or our leaders also act as economic managers of the country. Lalabas po yan sa exam. Alright, next, the last two one are cultural and social exchange. Yung mga foreigners natin, kaya nga may word na AFAM, di ba? Kasi malaya tayo makatravel, malaya rin sila makatravel sa atin. And we need them actually for tourism purposes para naman may trabaho ang ating mga kababayan. At tayo din naman, kailangan natin yung trabaho, nag-a-abroad tayo. Yung nabanggit ko na kanina, labor, mobility, and migration. Okay, so may benefit ba talaga tayo dito? Actually, medyo sanga-sanga ito, no? So, actually, ito na yung mga sinasabi niya. Minsan, kapag nag-abroad ang isang tao, anong mangyayari? May kapalit, di ba? Kung nag-abroad ka, makaipon ka sa maraming pera, pero mamimiss mo yung pamilya mo, hindi mo sila makakasama. And if you have never experienced homesickness or being away with your family, probably do not ever underestimate the sacrifices of the OFW families that you have na iniiwan kayo because they really love you and they really miss you but they just can't go home kasi pag umuwi sila mas lalo tayong maghihirap in a way. So that is a huge sacrifice on the part of the Filipino OFWs na naglalakas loob na hanapin ang mas mabuting buhay sa abroad. Okay, next, productivity. Yan, transfer. Kung mas magaling ang technology nila sa Japan, kailangan natin mag-aral, kaya matutunan yung technology nila or kunin yung technology nila, ibilhin natin, adapt natin sa pangangailangan natin. Evaluate distributional impacts using wages, employment, and inequality matrix. Para maintindihan mo to, madali lang yan. Kung wala yung Aeropark sa Binalonan, may trabaho ba ang ating mga kababayan dyan sa Binalonan o sa Eastern Pangasinan? Actually, wala. Same thing sa Calabarzon area, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Quezon. So yun, yung mga planta doon ng ano ba? Planta ng Toyota, planta ng Gardenia, lahat nun, nagbibigay ng trabaho para sa ating mga kababayan. Kung wala yun, ano papakain natin sa ating mga kababayan? Ano bibigyan natin sa kanilang sweldo o pera para pambili ng pangangailangan nila? Nothing. So job creation especially is, one of the pillars of globalization. Mas nabibigyan niya ng oportunidad ng ibang tao, yung mga tao para magkaroon ng kabuhayan. Okay, pero ano pa nga ba yung mga kailangan natin dito? Ito capital and technology cross borders. Nabanggit na natin kanina, supply chain. Pag sinabi natin supply chain, kulang sila ng banana sa Japan. So kasi hindi naman sila tropical country, 4 seasons sila. So ang banana nanggagaling sa Pilipinas, we provide them bananas, mga ganun. Kasi kailangan nila ng potassium. Ano pa ba? Kulang ng nurses sa Amerika, tulak natin ang ating mga nurses, mga ganyan. Kulang ng teachers sa Amerika, itulak ang mga teachers. So that's what we do, okay? We also have trade impacts and relative prices. We also have labor market adjustments. With labor market adjustments, we have policies on how to, promote fair trade and fair wages and our rights protection of our migrant workers. Okay, So what are the pros of globalization, economic upsides? Okay, we have listed three: higher growth potential, lower prices, and greater variability. Mas marami kang options na makita sa TikTok, mas mura pa siya, mas mabilis pang maipadala sa'yo kumpara sa mga local products na medyo pricey as compared with the ones na imported. And technology diffusion. Pag sinabi yung technology diffusion, technology na nagagamit nila sa ibang lugar, pareho nang nagagamit natin dito. Na-disseminate yung mga technologies na para sa advancement naman, para mas magumana ang buhay natin. So, yun lang yung ibig sabihin. Ano yung cons nito? Ito na, job displacement and wage pressure. Ito na dahil silang may-ari ng kumpanya, yung mga foreigners, sila kadalas yung nagdidikta kung magkano yung ipapasahod yung mga yon. Ano pa? Risk of unequal gains. Sino mas malaking pakinabang kapag ang mga Chinese mas may factory sila sa Pilipinas, yung mga American may factory sila sa Pilipinas para makatipid sila. Sila ba o tayo ang nakikinabang? Kailangan natin laging balansehin yung pakinabang, yung gains nito para sa host country at saka doon sa um, sending country, parang ganon. Kasi partners nga sila, di ba? May-ari ng kumpanya in international business is American, pero ginagawa nila yung factory nila o yung factory nila is based in the Philippines in international business. So ganon, titingnan natin kung balanse ba yung pakinabang ng bawat bansa. And eto na, vulnerability to global shocks. Kapag nag-away sila sa Middle East, what will happen to the gas prices? It would shoot up because one, we are dependent with the diesel or oil coming from the Middle East. Wala kasi tayo, kulang lang yung reserves natin. So this is the very important factor here. Sometimes, yung mga mahuhusay na negosyante, they look into the crisis as an opportunity to create more money or take advantage of this para medyo mas may gain sila. That's why the Chinese are trying to, uh, input more brands in the electronic mobility market, e-vehicle market, kasi yun nga tumataas yung presyo ng oil from the Middle East. So yun, gusto nilang makabenta ng mas maraming EV para daw makatipid ang mga Pilipino. Okay, so these particular pros and cons or disadvantage niya, meron din tinatawag na distributional effects at saka policy responses. Ano ba tong policy responses? Binabago natin yung mga batas natin that would, help us more would have an advantage or would suit our policies doon sa integration. Kasi kung kakaiba yung batas mo at hindi favorable sa ating mga kalapit bansa o sa mga trade partners, medyo mahirap tayong businessan. For instance na lang, magbebenta ka online, tapos ang hirap-hirap minayin niya, tapos kinakancel niya, tapos mamaya ang dami-dami pa niyang request, ang dami-dami pa niyang arte, di ba? Ayaw niyo na. Minsan binablock niyo o sinisin niyo na lang. That's just the same. Yung actions o ng macro level lang, no? Na macro level, pareho lang din yung effect na yon. Kapag ang bansa natin masyadong rigid or restrict yung kanyang mga policy at hindi siya open trade, no? Hindi siya free trade or hindi siya medyo open for trade, mahirap tayong pakipag-sosyohan, pakipag-businessan. Mas pipili ng ibang bansa yung mas makipag-business sila sa mga bansa na mas open yung kanilang economy or yung kanilang policy. Okay, so that's the thing that we have to talk about here. So we have, or economic organizations that guarantee trade activities. We have WTO, we have the World Trade Organization, IMF, International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank Group. Meron din tayo dito, kadagdagan niya, Asian Development Bank. Asian Development Bank. Okay, I can write it here, but probably you can take it. So these are our acronyms. WTO means World Trade Organization, IMF means International Monetary Fund, and World Bank, or plus one more, Asian Development Bank, ADB. Asian Development Bank. Ilalagay ko yan sa exam, okay? So, yeah. Okay, ano ba yung role ng mga financial institutions na to? World financial institutions. Ito yung mga nagpapautang sa mga bansa. For instance, may papatayong parang airport sa Pilipinas, wala tayong pondo, wala tayong pera. Pwede tayong umutang sa World Bank, papautangin tayo ng pera, tapos yung kikitain ng Pilipinas sa papatayong airport na yun yung pambabayad natin sa inutang natin sa World Bank na may kasamang interest. Okay, yun yung proseso nun. Pareho lang din siya kapag umutang kayo sa inyong friends, tapos hindi na to 10 pesos, ano na to, 11 na to kasi 2 weeks mong inutang, mga ganyan. So just the same thing, macro level lang ito. Okay, other regional and other key actors. We have role of regional trade agreements. Ano yung mga trade agreement na to? APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. Okay, APEC ano to? Samahan ito ng mga bansa sa Asia Pacific na nagkakaroon ng business activities together. Ano pa ba? ASEAN. Ano pa ba? BRICS. BRICS is Brazil, China, tas India. Yun yung BRICS. Sila, yun naman yung grupo ng mga malalakas na industrialized countries na pwedeng mag-control ng flow ng trade sa mundo. Okay, an impact of multinational corporations. Okay, ano ba yung mga ano natin dito? Benefits natin, ulitin natin. Trade expansion, role of foreign investment, and impact of competition. For instance, gagawa pa ba tayo ng iPhone sa Pilipinas na brand kung ito ang napakalakas? Of course, hindi na, di ba? Role of foreign investment. Kapag wala namang nag-invest sa Pilipinas, ano mangyayari? Wala tayong trabaho. Ganun lang po yan. Trade expansion. Mas marami tayong makaka-business, mas uunlad ang ating bansa. Ganun lang po yan kasimple. Okay, so benefits of globalization for world economies. Ito na, shared knowledge and technology. Kung hindi tayo pinahiram ng messenger ng Facebook, 'di ba? Makakausap pa natin ang ating mga pamilya sa abroad, hindi, 'di ba? Kung hindi natin nagagamit ang Zoom, ang Gmeet, hindi nagawa ang Google Meet, is it possible to study online? Of course, definitely not. Job creation and improved resilience from lower trade barriers. Okay, explain natin to ng madalian pero yun na yung mga explanation nun. Pag sinabing may trade barriers, may policy kasi na nagbabawal na bawal makipag-business sa ganitong ano kasi dapat uunahin ang Pilipinas. May mga ganun tayong mga tax pero explain ko na siya sa ano natin, sa klase natin, sa ating online class, not here in the recorded lecture. Okay, so please look into this dynamic as illustrated in this particular visual map. So, ito na yung nakikita natin pag globalization, trabaho, yung interconnectedness, employment, tapos galaw ng mga tao. Saan sila pumupunta, even like tourism sector. So, ano ba yung mga risk at mitigation strategies natin? Yan, minsan hindi naman sa kagandahan ng globalization, meron ditong side effect tulad na lamang ng risk na nakasulat dito, inequality, may yumayaman, may hindi yumayaman, volatility, kapag na tumaas ang presyo ng gasolina kasi may gera sa Middle East, naapektuhan tayo, nahihirapan ang ating mga jeepney drivers. Yun yung sinasabi natin na volatility. Weaker bargaining power for some groups. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Kung ang dinikta na presyo ng produktong petrolyo sa world market ay 1,000, ganyan. Ay nako, wala tayong magagawa. Hindi tayo pwedeng tumawad ng 500 na lang, pwede ba? Hindi ganon. So, sila yung may power kasi sila yung producers. Okay? So, may mga advantages pa rin na pwede nating masolusyonan kung may problema ganon. Pero, the thing is, medyo mababa yung ating bargaining power. Okay, yun yung totoo. Okay, this is a summary of the first discussion that we have. So you have to read this one and we will see you in class.